Hello there, live international football tonight here on Setanta Sports, and it's one of the most famous rivalries in the world game as Germany and England meet for the 27th time, and we're off to Berlin shortly. Brian Little's alongside Pat here in the studio with us tonight. Great to have your company. Makes a change, doesn't it? No Lampard, no Gerrard, Etal. So what are you going to talk about for the next 20 minutes?
Well, I'm not sure if they've done themselves any favours with Capello. You know, he is the chief, and he's brought some stability, normality, rules and regulations to the national team, and he might look back on this game, or one or two players might look back on this game and think maybe should have been there.
Are they happy to miss out themselves, the players?
I think at this time of the season, it's really difficult to throw the game in, and there's so much there. But as I've said, I think the man in charge will have checked them out, but will still be willing, if other people perform well enough, to give them a chance.
Nobody wants to miss out on a chance, A, to represent their country, surely, Brian, and B, in a game of this prestige value.
I think this is it's a great game. I mean, I think you know, it's one of those games that you want to win, no matter what. As I've said, I think one or two people with slight niggles would have took the easy route out, but one or two people might just jump in their shoes on the back of it.
Do you think Capello is focusing minds by suggesting that if you have a slight niggle, it would be better to be part of the party going to the game rather than persuading your club physio to tell the England camp that actually you're unlikely?
Well, I think the players are injured. I mean, you know, I don't think they mean to get injured.
Because they want to play if possible.
Deliberately, yeah, right? I think they do. I mean, he'll do that as long as results stay strong. Remember, he's made a very impressive start to being English manager. But if results go against him, I don't think he'll risk upsetting the Premier League managers, who he does rely on, because they do have the influence in friendly games such as this, which managers need to build a winning philosophy and to experiment. They do have the power to influence players not to turn up.
Pat, do you think by Capello's actions, essentially in the case of, for example, Steven Gerrard, although we knew he was injured at the weekend, he insisted that Gerrard was checked over by the national team physio as well, in his case entailing a 400-mile round trip to the England camp. Do you think that's actually just sending a warning shot for next year to the clubs?
Yeah, I think he's doing it in a game like this for a reason, and that is to send out the message that he's not worried about him not being available for tonight. It does allow him to try different people in there. But when he's saying that when it comes to the business end, you know, you need to send your players, and we will check to see if they're injured, so don't even try it. So I think he's made a statement about things, and I think that will work for him in the long term.
Are you pro-Capello so far?
Absolutely, yeah. I think as I've said, he's added the normality, which in the English game is a fairly difficult thing to do. His rules, his regulations, and I think he is the chief, and I think they know he is the chief, and he is a leader, and I think the players have responded to that.
It's been a very long time between pacey frontmen for Aston Villa who get into the England squad, isn't it? Brian Little back then, and now Gabby Agbonlahor follows in your footsteps. Yeah, starting tonight for England for the first time.
I'm pleased for him. I still think, you know, this game at the weekend for me is probably the one game in the last period of time against the big teams, the better teams, that he's actually performed. So I think it's the right time for him to have done that, and the opportunity tonight is a great opportunity for him because he has got pace. I've watched him play against especially Man United over the last couple of seasons, and he's never quite managed to perform. But I think Saturday was a massive step in the right direction.
Does he add something different to not Heskey not involved this week? Walcott sadly did his shoulder only yesterday, but does he offer something different, Agbonlahor?
Yes, when he plays to his strengths. I still think he's learning what his strengths are, and I know Martin O'Neill's been quoted on quite a few occasions saying he's got everything, he's not quite sure where it is yet. So this is a massive step for him. I think a lot of people in the Midlands feel he has something completely different, and this is a massive stage for him.
So this is the way England starts tonight? David James gets the calling goal, Pat. Now Joe Hart, another of the absentees, I wonder if he might have been looking to get a starting role tonight.
Well, he's certainly not going to play Carson, who's been shocking when I've seen him this season. Robinson, Ray Clements was dispatched to watch him at the weekend, and he made a big mistake. But David James is a good keeper, but he's 38 years of age, and I'm sure that if Capello had any faith in the understudies, they would have started tonight.
Brian, your thoughts on the team?
Well, I think the goalkeeping situation is a bit of a concern. I agree 100% with Pat. I think the other contenders just seem to let themselves down too regularly. But England at the moment, for me, are potentially an excellent team based on someone has at last got them round the necks and beginning to sort of shake them in the right direction and beginning to make them play.
Not an easy job for a manager. 10 absentees in the case of the English selection, and for Joachim Löw, the German boss, 7 missing players. The likes of Lam, Fritz, Janssen, Panda, Ballack and Frings, who's fallen out big time with the management, we understand. There's one debutant in this starting 11 for Germany, but by and large, Pat, he'd be happier tonight, wouldn't he, going in, because he's got more of what he knows, Löw?
Well, I think it's that German mentality when it comes to international football. You know, when you look at the players individually, and I think it's a secret for international managers, they don't perhaps necessarily frighten you. They haven't got players that, you know, are regularly doing it in the Champions League. OK, Michael Ballack's not involved tonight, but there's something about that German national team that they're so difficult to beat and so effective. And, you know, it won't be an easy night for England, especially with the team they've got out.
Thank you both. The last meeting, of course, Germany won at Wembley. The return fixture, if you like, in this little renewal of the great rivalry comes in the Olympic Stadium in Berlin, and kick-off comes after this. And another glamour game tonight in the Olympic Stadium in Berlin. Germany and England kicking off there shortly. Brian Little, what are you looking for from England tonight? What's realistically achievable?
Well, a result. I think, you know, we've got 2 teams out there tonight who've got managers who don't like losing football matches. I think from England's point of view, 1 or 2 people have a real opportunity to impress the manager, who I think takes notice of people. You play well, you perform, you look after yourself, you do the things that I want you to do, you get in the
And
team.
who have you got in mind?
Well, you know, we've got wide players that we're always shouting about. We're looking for Downing, Sean Wright-Phillips. I still think Gareth Barry has a lot to prove. You know, he's missed out, but perhaps up front as well, the goal scorers. I think they're going to have a big shout in it as well.
Bad news for Peter Crouch. The fact that he's put Heskey ahead of him. Heskey's not available tonight. Many people thought he might get the starting nod ahead of Agbon Lahore or Bent, and partner his clubmate Defoe. But he seems to have gone completely out of the picture. Capello won't want to lose tonight, and he's hoping that someone like Agbon Lahore will come through against Germany on a tough night and prove to be reliable enough to be a real option. And I think Brian's right. In the wide areas, he'll be hoping. I mean, how long have England looked for that option on the left-hand side of midfield? And Stuart Downing, he's had plenty of chances. Capello won't give him too many more. He has to do it tonight, as does Wright-Phillips.
For a man who's not a noted gambler, that's Capello, not you, Pat. Is this quite a risky front pairing, at least? Defoe and Agbon Lahore? Well,
physically, you know, it's not very big, but he's probably looked, you know, that Mertzacker and Vesterman, you know, they're big guys. They won't like to have those little fellas buzzing around with pace. You know, he'll be hoping that they cause problems, you know, with their speed. But Defoe, for me, is, you know, he's such a good player sometimes, but then on other occasions, he's anonymous. And I think, you know, when you've got a manager like Capello, he expects you to do the business every time you get the nod. And I think it's a big night for Defoe as well.
I'm not sure. The 2 lads up front, you know, have something about them. But for me, they're both the type of players that miss a lot of the game. But when they score, they always make you think, oh, they've got something. But they do miss a lot of the game. And I think they need to be involved in the game to give England a chance tonight.
Predictions, Brian?
I think there'll be goals. I think there could be goals from both sides, so I think it'll be interesting.
And from Pat?
I think that England will wangle a result. I wouldn't be too surprised if it's a draw.
Thank you both. Stay with us then here on Setanta Sports. And for commentary from Berlin, it's Lou Macari and first, Des Curran.
Thank you, Paul. It's not been the best of weeks for Fabio Capello, has it? High-profile player withdrawals over the weekend, questions asked by club managers, and then, just when it seemed to be dying down, Theo Walcott's dislocated shoulder training last night. You could sense Arsene Wenger's ire elevating even further back in London. Tonight, an under-strength 3 Lions into the Lions' den. Germany and Berlin, an occasion to savour. And the Olympic Stadium here, absolutely magnificent. What an arena. England's first visit to the German capital in 36 years. We have the atmosphere, we certainly have the crowd, and soon we will have the national anthems ahead of a massive game, friendly in name only, given the history between these 2 nations. Well, the crowd have packed in. We've had a lot of drama between England and Germany over the years. Which way will it go tonight? Two understrength sides, two managers looking for a big result.
Liebe Zuschauer, liebe Fußballfans hier in Berlin Olympiastadion, und jetzt singen wir alle gemeinsam die deutsche Nationalhymne.
Rendition, and a big night for that man, Marvin Komper, making his debut for the senior German national side, and he could well come up in direct competition against Gabriel Agbonlahor, England's debut man. But as you may have seen in the lineup, some big players in that German side. Peter Tchaikovsky dwarfed by Mertesacker on one side and Rolfs on the other. There is Agbonlahor. What a night for him, Luke.
Well, it is, and I think it's a big night for him, Des. I mean, the big debate, is he good enough at this level? I've got to say, I agree with Brian a little back in the studio. I've seen him 3 or 4 times, especially against Manchester United, and he's fallen short every time for me. But this is what these games should be all about, giving people an opportunity rather than talking about them, giving the players an opportunity to prove, Des, that they're capable at this level.
And what a place to make your debut. A real test of character for Gabriel Agbonlahor tonight. Germany in the Olympic Stadium. As the dignitaries are going through and meeting the players and match officials, these are nervous times, particularly for the two debut men. Like Agbonlahor, there is some experience around him. John Terry leading the side again tonight. David James in goal again for England, having made his debut back in 1997 against Mexico. But here is the German side. Joachim Low, some injury absentees of his own. We'll talk about England's in a moment. Balak Lam and Marcel Janssen amongst those on club treatment tables. 4 changes from the side that beat Wales in October, with Jermaine Jones, Simon Rolfs, Mario Gomez joining the Hoffenheim defender Marvin Komper, who, as we said, makes his senior debut tonight. Miroslav Klose edging ever closer to Karl-Heinz Rummenigge in the all-time scoring charts. Here's the England 11. Well, one man's loss is another man's gain in terms of the injury absentees. Tonight, starting places for Stuart Downing, Michael Carrick, Sean Wright-Phillips, Jermaine Defoe, and as we said, a senior debut for Aston Villa's Gabriel Agbonlahor. In total, 3 from Portsmouth, 2 from Chelsea and Aston Villa, and 1 each from Manchester United, Manchester City, West Ham and Middlesbrough. What do you make of the balance of that side, Luke?
Well, it's good to see the manager, Capello, giving everyone an opportunity. You know, the 2 wide players that the lads were talking about, Sean Wright-Phillips on the right-hand side of the pitch, Stuart Downing, still got to do it in an England shirt, and he's given them a few chances now, but sooner or later, Des, and I think it's sooner rather than later, they've got to deliver. Up front, 2 little fellas, quick, Jermaine Defoe, on his day, good goal scorer, and alongside him, Gabriel Agbonlahor.
And speaking of good goal scorers, Miroslav Klose, captaining Germany tonight in Balak's absence, really has been a leading player for them. Fabio Capello's team talk might well have had a special mention of Klose. And for Agbonlahor, and his teammate Ashley Young is on the bench, but Gareth Barry is in alongside him. And he can see John Terry making a special effort to go to Agbonlahor. Just that final word of encouragement. Ben Johnson right back again tonight. And speaking of England strikers, both nations have made excellent starts to their World Cup qualifying campaigns, but all of that will be forgotten tonight. Both nations might feel they have scores to settle. Germany, after that 5-1 loss to a Michael Owen-inspired England in Munich, believe it or not, all of 7 years ago now. And England, after Germany, spoiled both the end of the old Wembley and the opening of the new. And an early touch there for Comper. Here's Gomez. Final touch, was it off Klose or was it off Johnson? It's an early goal kick for David James. As was mentioned earlier, it would have been interesting had Joe Hart been available, if he would have got the nod to start. But perhaps this not the fixture to be blooding too many. Flick from Downing. And after much deliberation, it's going to be a German throw-in. Gomez can't take it under control. And there's Johnson once more. Klose and Gomez allowing the England defenders time on it. Drill forward by Upson. Here's Agbonlahor. No offside. Great chance for Defoe. And a good save from Adler. Well, he was looking suspiciously offside, Jermaine Defoe.
Well, I must say, Des, he looked well offside. Receives this ball. Through ball, is he onside, offside, yard offside? Flag doesn't go up, then it goes up. See the referee's assistant. It was a poor miss from Defoe, really should have finished. He wasn't aware of the flag going up.
Well, Defoe given the nod tonight. Interesting perhaps that the informed striker of those available to Capello, Darren Bent, is on the bench. Here's Defoe once more. Mertesacker standing off, Downing. Looking to provide with that left foot, closed down by Schweinsteiger. Barry looking it forward. Mertesacker to clear. Return by Terry. By Friedrich, playing on his home pitch, the Hertha Berlin skipper. Johnson. Now Wright Phillips. Carrick makes his first start under the New England manager. Now Downing. Plenty of red shirts forward here. If Downing can fashion a cross. Two smallest men on the pitch challenging for that, Trukowski and Wright Phillips. And it breaks to Defoe. Confident start from England. Johnson looking to take on Comper.
As you said, Des, good start from England. Opening 3 minutes, all England.
Here's Terry, first touch a little heavy. Starting tonight despite that foot injury picked up in the win at West Brom. The manager really needed him given the players who are missing: Ferdinand, Ashley Cole, Gerrard, Lampard, Joe Cole, Rooney, Heskey. It's more or less got a starting 11 unavailable to him, Fabio Capello. Matthew Upson winning his 12th England cap tonight. James going long. No Peter Crouch to aim for. Easy header for Mertesacker. Returned by Terry. Wright Phillips, realising he had time, took it down neatly. Johnson, header away by Comper. Rolfs. Trukowski has been in sparkling form for Hamburg. And a bit of quick thinking here. It's Glenn Johnson getting forward at pace, and Comper in trouble. Wright Phillips again. It's as if the fringe players, as they would be known of England, are setting out straight from the off to let the manager know what they have about them. And Germany on the back foot for the opening 5 minutes.
It's been a poor start for the home side. Hardly touched the ball in the opening 5 minutes.
From 4 in World Cup qualifying Group 6. Germany 3 wins and a draw from their 4 games. Here's James and Terry, and between them they solved that problem. Downing stabs it onto Defoe. Back to Downing once more. Rolfs coming across, the Bayer Leverkusen man. Central midfield pairing for Joachim Löw tonight. Jermaine Jones of Schalke and Rolfs. Thomas Hitzelsberger on the bench. Torsten Frings has fallen out with the manager Joachim Löw. They've apparently put that to right. But Frings not selected for the squad tonight, on an understanding with the manager, we believe. And of course Michael Ballack out injured. And he really couldn't have wished for much more. A goal maybe, but that really would have been fantasy stuff.
The problems that the German squad are having, and I think the biggest problem is, as a team, don't seem to be together. Back 4, I know it's opening 6 or 7 minutes here, but they look all over the place. Haven't seen much of the midfield, and 2 players up front haven't a kick yet.
Well, one avenue that certainly looks like it might be profitable, and no Theo Walcott tonight, but Sean Wright Phillips looking at Comper making his debut at left back, looking a little uneasy. Billy Blam could be a big miss in that respect for Germany tonight. Here goes Agbon Lahore, digs that across. Mertesacker, his clearance cannons off Defoe and behind for a goal kick. There is the German coach, just 4 defeats in 33 games. Of course, one of them the final of Euro 2008 against Spain. Just 5 months ago, back to still hurt, despite that encouraging start, as we said, to their 2010 qualifying campaign. Here's Trukowski. A few yards ahead of him, now engaged by Johnson. Still Trukowski. Gets his cross in as well, a wonderful ball, and James got down, got hands on it, and grateful that Gareth Barry was well positioned. And then Bridge was caught by a late challenge. The first threat comes as a result of the trickery of Trukowski.
Well, Glenn Johnson just slips at the vital time. Dangerous ball into the box. Really, that was all the goalkeeper David James could do. Parry it. Fortunately, wasn't a German forward on hand to smash it into the back of the net. Let off for England. Amazing 8 minutes of England pressure. First attack Germany have. Could have scored.
A little glimpse there of Trukowski going forward. Forward now, the other wide man on the left-hand side. It's Downey. And that will be a corner.
Getting ball after ball into the box.
Now 5 red shirts inside the box. Stuart Downing lurking just outside, short to Defoe. Now teased in by Wright Phillips. The only man there is Comper. by Johnson. Westerman will let that run harmlessly behind. Well, Joe Cole's absence means a chance for Stuart Downing. Another that some would believe hasn't done it when he's had the opportunity in an England shirt. His 21st cap tonight, Downing. Here goes Wright Phillips. Westerman stepping in. England throw-in. Carrick. Good ball into the box. Defoe looking to turn. Giant frame of Mertesacker in the way. Tidied up by Rolfs. And Schweinsteiger. Held up by Barry. Rolfs. Room now for Friedrich. Von Lahore working defenders and goalkeeper, but Adler and Mertesacker kept a cool head between them. Now Trukowski. Carrick looking to make a challenge, helped out by Johnson. Bricks kindly to Wright Phillips, beaten by Schweinsteiger, who looks immediately to get close in behind. Does take some watching Miroslav Klose. Second favourite there against Westerman. Rolfes, Trukowski, Comper. Closer dropping off, beaten to it by Barry. Now Defoe. Close in his eagerness to win it back for his side. He's conceded a free kick.
Poor control there from Closer. Gave the ball away, but in fairness to him, got it back eventually, but at the expense of a free kick.
Terry and Upson forward. What about the quality of delivery now from Downing? Big men stacked towards the back post. Downing whips it in. Mertesacker drawn to it. Good header away. Now Downing again. Clips one over the top, looking for Von Lahore. Chase on here with Adler. And now Von Lahore strong enough. And the assistant referee has seen a foul in that.
Oh, this shows a great deal wrong with this. He's got to go for the ball. Von Lahore puts his body in front of the goalkeeper. All right, a little shove maybe, but the referee's assistant 2 or 3 yards away. He gives a foul.
Adler might just have gotten away with that. Some referees might have seen that as okay. Foot left in by Close on Carrick. It's a point Ashley Young has been making about his Villa teammate Von Lahore in the lead up to this game. People focus solely on his speed. He said when he's on it, he's quite strong on it as well. Was from Jermaine Jones, taken in by Klose. Needs support, it arrives from Schweinsteiger. Not enough on the pass, and Johnson will take the throw-in. Jermaine Jones will be looking to catch the manager's eye tonight. He's been around and a consistently top performer for Schalke for many seasons now. Just his 3rd cap this evening. Could have played for the USA. Opted instead to wait for the German call.
I do believe these friendly games, Des, should be all about giving players an opportunity. No point in playing the players that are regulars, the Rooneys, the Gerrards, Frank Lampard. We know what they can do. It's all about giving one or two players that maybe you're just not sure about that opportunity to go and prove themselves.
You're siding with the club managers then, are you?
I'd always side with the club managers.
It's worked out quite nicely for Mr. Capello in that respect.
Yeah, but I don't think any club managers are worried about this fixture. There's one or two others fixtures that they will be a bit concerned about. Portugal are playing in Brazil. Long journey for all those players involved. One or two other fixtures, big concern to the club managers. This one, no problem. Private plane. They'll be back in England before we get in our bed tonight.
Well, it's probably the standout fixture of the night. We have, of course, Diego Maradona's Argentina in action against Scotland. But most eyes immediately drawn to this one. Germany and England again. Wright Phillips. We'll be seeing a lot more of Jermaine Jones next week. Schalke versus Manchester City live here on Setanta in the UEFA Cup on Thursday. This man will also be in action on Setanta that night. David James and his Portsmouth colleagues. What a game for them. AC Milan at Fratton Park. Flick from Magbon returned with interest by Mertesacker. Picked up by Rolf as in the white shirts start flowing forward. Jones. Friedrich. Schweinsteiger. Hustled and harried by Bridge, forced backwards. Tchaikovsky, who was the instigator of the one real threatening moment we've had so far. That cross that James got hands on and closer wasn't too far away from. Turned on by Compe. Good challenge from Johnson. Westerman, another of the Schalke contingent. What a wonderful ball that is. After a shaky start, Germany beginning to get to grips with this one now.
Well, sooner or later, Des, they had to get in the game. It was all England for the first 10 minutes. No great surprise, the home side are getting a little bit of the ball now, but you just get a feeling when you watch some teams, even after 15, 17 minutes of the game, whether they've got it or not. I'm just looking at this German side, Des, and just finding it hard to look at stars, real big stars in the side, and as a team, I just don't feel they've got it, and some of the results they've had recently, I'm sure the manager and the German supporters will be a little bit concerned.
It's interesting, they're a nation that moves their national games around. England, of course, have Wembley, their spiritual home, but Germany in their qualifying campaign have already played in Dortmund and in Mönchengladbach. Tonight they're in Berlin. I wonder ultimately if the standards just drop a little as a result of that. Here's Stuart Downing. Another England corner.
I think that's what England have got to do all night. Ball out to Downing, ball out to Wright Phillips. Let them go at the full-backs, get balls into the box.
And once again, Terry and Upson forward. And Bon Lahore, Defoe. Gareth Barry in there too as Wright Phillips goes near post. Comes out to Carrick. And will break for Tchaikovsky. Compe, part of the incredible Hoffenheim story. Into the side this season, the club playing in the Bundesliga for the first time ever. And they're second only on goal difference to Bayer Leverkusen. Having won 9 of their 13 games, taken everyone by surprise. Another squad member amongst the reserves tonight, Tobias Weiss. May see him at some stage. But Compe here, his call up. A great reflection on what Hoffenheim have done this season. Schweinsteiger. Jones. Just Contemptuously shrugs Gareth Barry off. Barry has it now. Now Bon Lahore, now Carrick. Downing having another look. And goes for Bon Lahore, no stranger to the wide positions. Chance to have a run at Friedrich here. Now looks to provide. Rolfs was well positioned. Saka in there as well. Upson. Now Barry. Friendly fixtures, of course, more of them to come between now and next spring, but England's next group game will be at home to Ukraine on April 1st, and if they can win again there, make it 5 from 5, they can pretty much start booking their hotel then, I think, for 2010.
I think they can book their hotel already, Des, without the Ukraine victory or no victory. Some great results, got themselves in a wonderful position. Don't see them throwing it away now.
There have been moments in the games, in the victories against Andorra, Kazakhstan and Belarus in particular. Wonderful result away to Croatia, but certain patches of the game have been that, a little bit patchy, but from the manager's point of view, you just can't argue with results, can you?
Well, you can't, and I think in all those away games you're talking about, you're going to have your most scary moments in the game, but England have got the right thing out of each game, they've got the result, and as we can see after 21 minutes here, reasonably in control. Germany not causing them that many problems, and you'd like to think that England, if they can continue this way, they could go on to win this game.
Do you put it down to the manager? Can you put it down to the manager, the fact that they are getting the wins now in places that would have caused them real problems before?
Well, I think he's a manager that knows what he wants, and then I think the players grasp what he wants. He wants everything a football manager should want: results, dedication, honesty, work rate. I think that has improved in England's side.
Right, Phillips wanted was a corner and he's got it. Shot looked a little errant, but obviously a touch on its way. Spun away well, perhaps just skimmed off Esterman. Right, Phillips will go all the way from the right to the left to take it once more. And again, Jermaine Defoe occupying that position just in front of Rene Adler. Gareth Barry on the near post. It goes towards Barry, who got a touch on it, and Upson hooking it goalwards. And they'll do it all over again.
And there's 2 corner kicks in a row from Sean Wright Phillips. Both have been poor.
And once again, the positioning of the England men in the box very similar. Everyone knows where they're meant to be. Downing, Adler coming forward, he's completely missed it, and it's turned in and England have the lead. Well, is it Matthew Upson's goal? If it is, it's his first for his country. Scrambled effort from close range, but it counts, and England have the lead, and it does look like Upson.
Oh, all the height that Germany have got in there. Goalkeeper makes a mess of it. Big centre half, Mertesacker, he misses it as well. 6'2", 6'3", is he? Oh, missed the ball. The ball's lying there invitingly for Matthew Upson. And what, from 4 or 5 yards, pokes it into the back of the net. Oh, goal was always on the cards for England. It's eventually come. They've got the reward.
Bon Lahore will be looking at that and thinking, if I'd have got anything on it, I could have claimed it. But it's not a debut goal for Gabriel Bon Lahore. It's a first England goal for Matthew Upson. And Germany now looking to respond quickly. Jones surging forward from midfield, and he goes on, advantage allowed. That's his cross in, claimed at the near post by David James. Just to quickly let you know, we're very busy Saturday coming up in terms of live football on Setanta Sports. St Mirren Celtic kicks us off. Join us from 11:30 on Setanta Ireland, and then Our usual Saturday Premier League double bill. Liverpool-Fulham is our 3 o'clock kickoff on Setanta Sports 1, and on the same channel that will be followed by Aston Villa against Manchester United. That's the England fans who are singing loudest now in Berlin. And if we get a chance to see that goal again, Rene Adler will share a huge portion of the blame. Upson will claim the glory, but that German goalkeeping position is one that's been interesting for a couple of seasons now, after Oliver Kahn has hung up his gloves and Jens Lehmann no longer involved. Manuel Neuer at Schalke, Robert Enke, Timo Hildebrand, they've all had their chances. It's Adler in goal, and he hasn't covered himself in glory tonight. That's a foul, and a German free kick in a good position now.
Well, Sean Wright-Phillips back helping to defend. Clumsy challenge, brings down closer. It's all about defending now for England. Centre-half option's got a goal. Can he defend the way you want defenders to do their job? Him and John Terry, they're going to be important players now for England.
James looking to organise. Piotr Tchaikovsky will take the free kick. England defenders standing in a line. Here is Tchaikovsky. He's going for goal, is he? If he was, it was an ambitious effort, but one that certainly forced David James into action.
Well, I think he did mean this, Des. I think he was going for goal. Almost over the top of David James. Good punch from the big keeper.
James using every inch of his 6'4" frame to deal with that one. Mertesacker goes near post, it's beyond him. And Kumper's header, never threatening.
There's a poor header from the young man. From the back. Just got to head that down into the crowded area.
He'd have been hoping as a defender to mark his debut with a clean sheet for Germany tonight, but that won't be the case.
Well, it's about a clean sheet nowadays for the England boys at the back. Glenn Johnson, Matthew Upson, John Terry, Wayne Bridge, and of course David James. It's all about defending properly. Certainly if they defend properly, I don't see Germany beating them with what they've got on offer tonight.
Tchaikovsky again. Comes back to Kumper. Rolfs. Mertesacker. Squeeze forward, but no one there in white, and swept away by Gareth Barry. Mertesacker heading into space, quickly filled by Rolfs. Now Vesterman. Playing centre-half, he could yet be one of the biggest threats in terms of a goal for Germany. 4 goals in defence already this season in the Bundesliga for Schalke Vesterman. And then just wandering into the England half, showing his inclination. Adler will have to put that really bad error out of his mind now.
Well, they made the initial mistake, Des, but there's still a bit to do before that ball ended up in the back of the net. And I've got to say, German defenders were all sleeping. Matthew Upson wasn't.
Tchaikovsky coming infield, back to Rolfs. Now Schweinsteiger. Hard to believe he's still just 24. He's 62nd German cap tonight, Bastian Schweinsteiger. That's a loose one. Seized on by Carrick. Now Downing. Bon Lahore was looking for something early. Downing goes on. Little step over from Carrick, wasn't read. And Vesterman advances to his club colleague Jones. On to Tchaikovsky. And look at Vesterman, he's now probably the most forward of all the German players there. Gomez. Schweinsteiger, committed challenge from Terry, and even when the ball was on the ground, puts his head on it. England with plenty behind the ball now. Jones squeezes it forward to Gomez. He's been a peripheral figure so far, the Stuttgart striker. Kumper. Keeper was caught late. That was high from Wright Phillips. Not his first foul of the night, but certainly his worst. And the card coming out. Very, very high that looked.
No, it's not often that Sean Wright Phillips gets a yellow card, but referee spot on here. Compere goes for the ball. Wright Phillips a bit too high with his challenge. The manager doesn't agree with the decision.
Tchaikovsky again stands this one up, and a looping header has carried over. No danger of that one from close up, finding the net.
No, there's 4 red shirts there, and closer at the back of all those red shirts managed to get a header in. Defending's got to be a bit better than that.
It's got a terrific return, but as we look back at the only goal of the game so far, scored by Upson. Watching Miroslav Klose says a return of a goal every other game for the national side, and considering he's played, well, it's his 88th game tonight, that's quite a return. Gomez squeezes it forward to Jones. Stepping in was Terry. And that's not the ball the full-back Arne Friedrich wanted, was it, from the goalkeeper? He did what he could, and he's earned his side to throw it.
And in fairness, England players closing down quickly, not giving Germany a chance to get on the ball and spray it around.
Jones climbing, but beaten by Carrick. Friedrich. The German midfielder has stayed down, and the referee having a look at it now. Jones is a tough character, not one you'd associate with staying on the deck unless he certainly felt it.
I must say, Des, I'm not happy with the England supporters are singing. Have you heard them?
I did. I didn't want to mention it, Lou. Didn't want to mention it. Schweinsteiger to take this. Whips that right foot around it. And that was a chance for Westermann, the man who has the scoring touch. And somehow, from 12 yards out, it was a free header.
This again from England's poor. Plenty of red shirts once again. One German player sandwiched in amongst them all. It's Westermann. Great opportunity. Keeps his header down, tests the goalkeeper. That could have ended up in the back of the net. Let off for England.
Well, was he Matthew Upson's man or John Terry's man? Both were looking around, both very relieved. Westermann didn't force that one on target. Schweinsteiger has come inside to get a little bit more involved. Rolf's difficult ball given to him by Comper, who's made up for it, but a good challenge on Wright Phillips, but now he's out of position, and Wright Phillips in behind. Westermann coming out to meet him. Hacked away by Mertesacker as Bon Lahore was lurking. Here's Defoe. Shrugged off at this time by Westermann. Comper. The greatest of balls forward, seized on by Johnson. Barry onto Bridge. Barry once more. Carrick. so having to work 3 England players. Gomez not really getting involved. Rich again, squeeze it up the line. Now a play by Friedrich. Jones, none the worse for wear for that knock he took earlier. Might have caught a glimpse of the England substitutes bench. Included on it Jimmy Bullard, Scott Parker. Remaining to the half-time whistle at the Olympic Stadium in Berlin. Germany 0, England 1. Matthew Upson. Midway point of the half with the goal. Jones. Turned on. And close again, and Gomez between them. Neither could quite get there.
Well, they really do seem to be lacking ideas in that midfield department, Germany. Don't seem to have a playmaker that can go on the ball and thread through that vital ball to any of the front two. Been quite easy for England up to now.
Certainly doesn't look too worried, the England manager, nor should he be. Here's that Bonlaho flag has gone up.
Once again, German defence all over the place. Sean Wright-Phillips brushes off one German defender. Was that Bonlaho offside there? The force certainly was. I wasn't sure about Bonlaho.
I don't think Marvin Comper in pictures enjoying his debut so far. He's had a couple of shaky moments and doesn't look the most certain at left back. I don't think Wright-Phillips would have been having it as easy against Philippe Lahm had he been fit to play.
I really do believe tonight, Des, is a night for having a real goal. I think we've seen in the first 36 minutes how poor at the back Germany can be. I don't think it's a night for sitting back and allowing Germany to come on to you.
Taking it short and taking it back from Rolfs. Now Mertesacker. Rolfs again. With a roll with the studs, but he's presented it straight to Wright-Phillips and isn't quick enough to make the challenge. And now Johnson in support. And Bonlaho and Defoe in the area, waiting for a cross that didn't come. Tchaikovsky blocking that, but another England corner. Saw what happened the last time Stuart Downing took one. Will Rene Adler come for this? Downing must be tempted to drop it right in there. Here we go then, and Adler does come forward and makes a better fist of that. Out to Wright-Phillips, who lets go from distance. Never really threatening.
Well, never really threatening, but I think that's the thing to do on a night like tonight when you've got the upper hand. Get a chance to shoot, have a shot, get a chance to get the ball into the box, get it in the box. Run at the German defenders when you get the opportunity. I must say it's been quite an impressive 38 minutes, especially from an England point of view. They're in front and deservedly so.
And Terry and Upson and co holding firm so far at the back. There have been a couple of scares. Most notably that free header for Westermann a few moments ago. Scott Carson looking on. It was Schweinsteiger to Westermann for that moment. And it is Schweinsteiger again to take this. Lifts it up towards Westermann and it almost reached him and would have, but this time Upson did get ahead on it.
That's all Matthew Upson's got to do from there at the end of the game. Keep getting ahead on the ball, keep heading it away.
German players spin from their starting positions. It comes to Rolfs. He might have a go from here. Too many bodies to get through. Wright looking for options. Short to Schweinsteiger, who spins away from the first challenger and wins the German corner. All eyes on Mertesacker. Header away at the near post was a good one. Rolf's looking to retrieve it, but he doesn't have the pace of Agbonlahor. 2-on-2 here. And Agbonlahor's ball was a poor one. Why didn't he have the conviction to take on Friedrich? He'd certainly have him for legs.
Well, it really is a night, Des, for having that conviction that you're talking about. Agbonlahor really should have gone all the way. I think that's what Capello's trying to say to him there. Yeah, well done, son.
You don't need to speak the language fluently, do you?
No. Put your hand out and in and out, Des, you know what it's all about.
Bridge has been upended. Michael Mancien, Micah Richards, Jimmy Bullard, Ashley Young. That's the one good thing about being a sub if Bullard's in the squad, isn't it?
Well, he's done well to get in the squad, in fairness to him, Des. Terrible injury a couple of years ago, fought his way back. And of course his performances for Fulham that have got him in the squad.
Big week for him. He'd be hoping to get his debut tonight. He'd take 30 seconds on the pitch, and they've Liverpool to come at Anfield on Saturday, a game you can see live with us.
He almost made the Irish squad, you know that, Des, don't you? Jimmy Bullard.
Could have played for Germany, German grandmother.
Well, he could have, yeah. But he thought he had Irish in his blood, and he then discovered it wasn't Irish and it was German. I said, well, no, that won't get you in the Irish squad, Jimmy.
Not these days. Here's Wright Phillips. He's had a very productive first half. Jermaine Jones realising that. Knew that his defenders needed a little bit of a dig out there. Gomez. And he's been poor. He's the Bundesliga top scorer a few seasons ago when Stuttgart were going really well. But hasn't really rediscovered that form since.
I must say, Des, most of the German side have been poor tonight. Hard to look and point out a star in the team. And I'll say it again, 3 minutes from half time. Unless England do something crazy, I just can't see them losing this game.
Carrick forcing Jones back. And it's a new look England tonight. Many won't have experienced defeat at the hands of Germany before. Not at senior international level anyway, so that mental thing creeping in as the game goes on about Germany always digging something out may not come into play as much.
I think when you talk about Germany digging something out there, I think we're talking about years back. You know, years ago, a German side was always a committed side, full of players. In midfield, Mateus, you know, he got a chance at the edge of the box, as Rolfs did a couple of minutes ago. He detested the goalkeeper. What did Rolfs do? Poor shot. A big difference between this German side and the one from a few years ago.
Well, no doubt Michael Ballack makes a huge difference. Not alone being the captain of this side, but he's always a goal-scoring threat. Can pick a pass as well. Oh, Gomez, as there was a slip. John Terry ending up on the deck, but thankfully from his point of view the ball running safely through to David James. Mertesacker's header has fallen for Downing, who struck that really well, and Adler got hands on it. Now Wright Phillips.
It's a good strike from Stuart Downing. All comes about with a terrible header from Mertesacker. Right down to Downing. Great shot. Good save from the keeper. And Sean Wright Phillips just off target.
And look at Jermaine Defoe here. Just catch a glimpse of him there. Wasn't too far away, had Adler's parry fallen a little kinder for him. It was a tap-in. Just one additional minute at the end of the half. And it's been a half that will bring a smile to the face of Fabio Capello, I'm sure. Really set the tempo from the early minutes, England. Adler advances and deals with that. Came out and made a confident start. Got their reward midway through. Terry might have to deal with that as James was advancing. Captain taking no chances.
Just getting a little bit sloppy there, England, passing that ball about. Caught in possession. Germany almost in.
England fans want the half-time whistle. Shouldn't be too far away now. Referees another look at the watch as Vesterman is struggling to find a route forward. And there indeed is the half-time whistle, and a good half for England. Matthew Upson with his first senior international goal on his 12th appearance has Fabio Capello's side ahead of the break at the Olympic Stadium in Berlin. It's Germany 0, England 1.
All that those who are in Berlin can do is impress the boss, and that's what England appear to have done so far tonight. Brian Little and Pat Dolan next. Wow. Trip to Berlin's great value at any time, isn't it? But combining the football with a couple of days in the German capital, what a magnificent prospect the Olympic Stadium is. And England doing well on the field there. At the break they lead 1-0 against Germany. In the second half, Brian, do you expect Capello, when you've said how impressed you are with what he's got from the players he started with, do you think he would encourage them to continue, or is he going to use the opportunity to...
Well, I hope so. We and I especially so over the years have watched a few horrible second half England performances. So I'm hoping today is one where they continue what they're doing. And, you know, it'll be interesting to see if they can do that. Because that has been a failing for England in quite a few matches, that the second half performances have fallen away.
Is it possible to maintain the momentum once you start making 3, 4, 5 changes?
Well, I think there's enough out there wanting to impress. So it's not always easy. And it can obviously upset the team. So it'll be interesting to see. But I think he is proving now that he's beginning to get to know these players and they're beginning to get to know him.
Do we sometimes overlook, however, if you're not been in the starting 11, how important it would be to get the chance to, when you've been a part of the squad, you've got the opportunity to travel, you actually want to make your mark on it, don't you, as a substitute?
Of course you do.
Speaking as a career substitute myself, of course.
Listen, you don't want to travel all the way up. I mean, we have the situation in Ireland with Andy Reid. No doubt Capello will insist that the England substitutes are smiling. However, I don't think he'll want to win this game, Capello. That's it. That's the animal that he is. That's just like, hey, on his CV for England, hey, the English public and the English press, which are his two big problems. I don't think he's got a problem with the players now, but the public and the press are just waiting to turn them, because that happens to every England manager. Will they have an appetite for a victory in Germany? Of course they will. But you know what? Mario Gomez up front for Germany. What a disappointment. A disappointing so Euro 2008 when there was big hopes for him from the German public. He's got a chance tonight. I'd expect to see Podolski on very soon. From Germany's point of view, Pat, they've had a terrific run so far this season. This will be rather a shock to them, won't it? You mentioned the reaction that might ensue in the media. Yeah, and also there's such a huge crowd there. You know, it's not just in England that this game is of great significance, but in Germany as well. There is that history between the two countries. So, you know, I think if you offered a draw now to Joachim Löw, he'd be absolutely delighted. He does not want to get beaten, but certainly what he doesn't want to do, in that famous World Cup qualifying, it was 5-1, it was 2-0 at half-time to England, and they scored right on the stroke of half-time. He will not want this to turn into a rout. But at this moment in time, there's been no imagination whatsoever between in that German team. I mean, if you look at Rolfs and Jones in the middle of the park, they've been, you know, so pedestrian in possession. I mean, there hasn't been one final pass that's threatened. Is there a little lack of pace in the England defence with John Terry there? Yes, but there's been no real width or conviction to the side, and it's a disappointing performance, not just a disappointing result. And at home, he'll want to turn that round.
Well, again, you know, we talk and we talk and we talk about friendly games, but how does an international manager do his job without international friendly games? And even in these games, you're judged. And I think it's very important for both teams for them to perform well, and especially for the managers.
He's made a couple of controversial decisions, you know, in the last, 6 weeks or so. Well, there's a change of 2 afoot for Germany too here, we can see. But the manager, you know, without Ballack... OK, hold the thought, Brian. It looks like we're ready to go. Back to Lou and Des.
Thank you, Paul. Second half underway, and there have been changes on both sides. Patrick Helmes of Bayer Leverkusen has come on to add some weight to the pretty impotent German attack in the first half. And there's a change up front for England as well. Darren Bent is on. And in goal, Scott Carson, who has appeared for the second half. So changes on both sides. And also in, and one worth watching, the 13 for Germany, Marco Marin, just 19 years of age, still has a couple of years of eligibility for the under-21 side. He's come on to the right-hand side of midfield. Schweinsteiger is still there. He's moved into a central role. But Marin is one they believe very much for the future. Has a little something about him. Can he produce that something in the second half? Wright Phillips has skipped away. Initially from Westermann. As you can see, a change in goal for Germany as well. Tim Wiese in for Rene Adler. And really hoping that Wiese is a little more steady under anything high into the area, particularly if we see Peter Crouch second half for England. It's Darren Bent and Agbon Lahore up top now for Fabio Capello. Here's Westermann. Rolfs pressurised and fouled by Barry. But will Schweinsteiger moving into the middle give Germany that little bit of creativity they need in there? Darren Bent has been in such a run of goals. In total, he's got 11 and 18 for Tottenham this campaign. And that for a Tottenham side that was really struggling prior to Harry Redknapp's arrival. Here is Marin. Comes out to Friedrich. Chance to measure across. Going to be a throw-in, good defending from Wayne Bridge, but Marin immediately getting involved. Here he is again. Just loses his footing. Schweinsteiger wraps his foot around it, too much on it for Gomez. It's a surprise perhaps that he's still there, and that Klose is the man who's been withdrawn. Here's Carrick. He's one really we haven't mentioned, Lou, Michael Carrick. And, you know, if Lampard and Gerrard and co are fit and Barry's still in there, it's his first start under Fabio Capello tonight. Injuries have deprived him of anything earlier, but big night for him as well to try and stake a claim.
Well, it is a big night, and really it is. You've got to play out your skin to, I think, dislodge the players that you mentioned there. Gerrard, Lampard, for me they look permanent fixtures in that England team, but given your opportunity, you've got to go out there and try and impress. You won't do it that way.
It's just about to say he hadn't done anything wrong. He's given the ball away. Here's Tchaikovsky. 2 diminutive figures on the wings now for Germany. Tricky customers. Lay off from Schweinsteiger. Rolfs standing off him. It's a long, long way out.
Just don't have that craft in that midfield to carve the England defence open. Having to shoot from 25, 30 yards, Rolfs. Poor movement up front.
Wonder if we'll see the former Villa man, Thomas Hitzelsberger, in the second half at some stage. It's Mertesacker's header. Bridge coming inside to Downing. Forward by the goal scorer Upson. Darren Bent looking to get involved, runs through to Visa. It's interesting when you look at the two sides, the two nations, and you look at the goalkeepers. It has been an issue for both, really, hasn't it? We mentioned the German situation earlier. With David James, the #1 now for England. Scott Carson, who's conceded almost 2 goals a game for West Brom this season.
Well, when you think England does over the years, have had so many great goalkeepers, and all of a sudden everyone, you know, it's really a position that's up for grabs. No disrespect to David James, but he's getting on a bit now, and there's nobody coming along really putting him under pressure.
Michael Vesterman felt that, a committed John Terry challenge. And a percentage ball looking for Bent, and Comper is trying to shepherd it back to his goalkeeper. He's managed it. Darren Bent, prior to tonight, his last appearance was in that ill-fated Euro 2008 qualifier against Croatia at the end of last year. Mr. Capello obviously a fan. Got mentioned of Michael Owen not getting a call-up, particularly with Heskey and Rooney being injured. Your thoughts on that, Lou?
Well, I think the one thing you can say about Michael Owen, he can score goals, Des, without any shadow of a doubt, but just doesn't play often enough nowadays. You can understand Capello taking the view, no, don't see you often enough in the Premier League. I know you've got a great reputation from the past, but it's the past and it's all about the present. And at this present time, he's going with Defoe, Agbonlahor, Darren Bent, no, anybody really, apart from Michael Owen.
Well, in a way you can see sense in it if he's looking towards those games next spring, to give the likes of Agbonlahor and Defoe and Bent, as you said, that more experience, particularly in a venue like this, an opposition like this.
Well, he's got to do it, Des, but you know, there's a way back for Michael Owen. It's simple: get playing, get in the team, score goals in that Newcastle side, and he can't be overlooked. Everyone knows what Michael Owen's capable of.
The England management getting a little animated there. Stuart Pearce with the manager.
It's all about if they defend properly nowadays, they win the game. And Stuart Pearce, good defender on his day, and also on the bench Ray Clements, goalkeeper on his day. Capello, what was he, a centre-half? Big centre-half, was he? Big horrible centre-half. So they've got all the ingredients there of knowing what's required now.
Speaking of big centre-halves, here's Mertesacker. Marin looking to skip around Bridge. Downing back defending, and defending well. Helmez hasn't had a kick of significance since his half-time arrival. Looking to attack that, bounces over his head. He's the second highest scorer in the Bundesliga this season. We were talking at half-time, Lou, about centre forwards, and looking back to the teams that played here when England were last in Berlin to play, well, it was West Germany at the time, and some decent ones on show that night, particularly one.
Oh, yeah, how they're crying out for a Gerd Müller, Des. I mean, clinical goal scorer. Nobody even sort of resembles that in their team tonight. Gomez, really, he's been shocking. Klose hasn't done much better, although Klose, in fairness to him, has got a good goal-scoring record. But certainly nowhere near a player as good as Gerd Müller. Gunter Netzer also played in that game. Franz Beckenbauer for Germany. Good team they had back in '72.
Dare we say, for all that, it ended 0-0.
Yeah, but they were good players, and so did England have a good team on the night.
It's been a good night for England so far. Some defending to do here, though. Almost for a moment was goal side of Johnson. Rolfs. Helmes looking for a little flick that was a little too extravagant. Helmes hustling, harrying, bustling centre forward. Perhaps the intricate skills not his strongest point. Lovely first touch from Downing. Bonlo just up ahead. Westerman tight to him, comes back to Bridge. Now Barry. Stabbed forward by Bridge again. Bonlo knocked off it by Westerman. Emerging with it is Schweinsteiger. Didn't break kindly for Gomez, but he's turned it round the corner. Not the angle he was looking for to get Helmes running.
It's not been a good night for Gomez in particular up front. Don't think he's done anything right in the 55 minutes we've been playing.
Johnson and Carrick. Downing. Bridge going on the overlap. Back to Downing once more. Away from Schweinsteiger. And Downing cracks it. Well, he cut one in the first half brilliantly. Not quite the same story there, though.
Oh, I don't believe what I'm seeing here, Des. Watch Schweinsteiger here. Gets nutmegged, just stands there looking at it. Allows Downing to go on with the ball. Allows him to have a shot at goals. Look at his reaction. Well, there's no reaction. He really should have been punished.
Well, it's time for Lucas Podolski. We spoke of Schweinsteiger and the amount of caps he has at a young age. Podolski's a year younger, 23. Coming on to win his 60th senior cap. And I think the reaction is much for Love's decision to withdraw the very ineffective Gomez as it is for the introduction of Podolski, who was a better average actually than Klose. 60th cap, 31 goals. He's managed 3 in the current qualifying campaign. But he's certainly a player who can frustrate. It's been like that at Bayern Munich, good days and bad. When he's good, he's very good. What mood will he be in tonight? Carrick looking to judge that. Podolski quickly in with a challenge. Maybe he is up for this one. Squeeze forward, Helmes. It looks a little awkward when the ball is at his feet, but he's dug out 2 passes there. Now Schweinsteiger finds Marion. Looks to measure across, too close to Carson. Westerman. You can see again, he's so anxious to get forward. Had one good opportunity in the first half from a Schweinsteiger free kick. Schweinsteiger a little more aggressive in the challenge. Referee allowing the advantage here. Ben's first touch is an errant one, seized on by Marion. Now Rolfs. Play off from Podolski. Looks for something a little more direct this time for Helmes. Johnson gets a foot on it. Rolfs. Looking for Comper, who had stayed forward after that initial run.
Well, I do believe this is a wonderful opportunity for some of these England players tonight to make a mark in the opposition to a team they're playing against. People like Agbon Lahore and Even Darren Bent, Stuart Downing, I don't think they'll get a better opportunity to impress the manager on that ball. Don't be scared.
That's true, regardless of how good or bad Germany turn up on the night. How good or bad their side is, it's always a feather in the cap to beat them, particularly on their home patch. Forward by Johnson, taken in well by Agbonlahor. He wants it back, he's eager for work, Agbonlahor. Johnson again. Schweinsteiger closing him down, but still with the England right back. Now Agbonlahor looking to go the long way around, seen off by Trukowski. And you can tell the Aston Villa striker is desperate to make the most of this tonight. He was in Fabio Capello's first squad for the Switzerland game, but damaged a hamstring, and that was to come back and haunt him again in further games, particularly Belarus, and he was a late call-up, but had injured himself, hamstring again for the under-21s the previous night.
Oh, I think Michael Carrick's a bit unfortunate here, goes for the ball, goes with more determination than Schweinsteiger. He's desperate to get that ball, gets a bit of Schweinsteiger, but the referee right on hand. So one thing about England tonight as well, Des, that first every ball, when that ball drops in that any area of the pitch, not just in midfield, first every ball, look the hungrier of the two teams, certainly the better of the two sides, and for me, more likely to win the game.
Wright Phillips slaloming run, and still he goes, Sean Wright Phillips, and eventually Comper blocks his efforts.
Well, I must say I haven't seen one German player the whole evening showing this type of commitment, getting the ball, going at an England player like Sean Wright Phillips has just done. And it's been a big problem for Germany, lacked imagination. Well, they've really lacked everything that you want in a team. Been poor tonight.
Well, the goal has come from an Upson corner. He's up again, but Mertesacker heads away. Johnson has to make that, and he did. Now the referee has gone tumbling. The play goes on. Agbonlahor and Bent are through, and Darren Bent still goes. Darren Bent for two. He's missed it. The manager is unmoved, but not so the England fans. They'd look to tap him.
Oh, look at Germany here, Des, all over the place, just trotting out at the back, through ball. Darren Bent, is he onside? Just onside. Can he go round the goalkeeper and finish? He can certainly go round the goalkeeper. Can he finish? Oh, there's your answer. Shocking end to a great move. Hits with his left foot off his right foot and just past the post.
Well, Tim Wiese, the goalkeeper, got a fingertip to it. To slightly change direction, Darren Bent, but still, as a striker and in the vein of form he's in, it had to be two. Oh, and at the other end, it's an equaliser. A calamitous moment between Carson and Terry, and Patrick Helmez has scored his first senior goal for Germany, and he will never score an easier one.
As I was saying to you earlier, Des, that the only way England could come under pressure here was to do something silly, allow Germany back in the game. Watch this. John Terry's waiting and waiting. I think he decides to go and head it at one stage. Helmez follows it up through Scott Carson's legs. And although Darren Bent's just missed an absolute sitter, there's no way Helmez is going to miss this one. Into the back of the net, completely against the run of play. 1-1.
It's an absolute gift for Germany. And do you blame the centre forward or centre half, or do you blame the goalkeeper, Ray Clements? Well, I'd imagine he'd have something to say about Carson's part in that, but John Terry, who initially was in charge of the situation, put all in a muddle, and Germany out of nowhere, out of nothing, are back on terms. Well, even with a side that looks well below par compared to former German sides. They still seem to have that characteristic to take advantage when there's something to be taken advantage of. But that said, what a howler.
Well, there's one England player that hasn't done his chances any good, Scott Carson. He must take control of that situation. He's coming out. He can shout at Terry, or he can just come and clatter Terry, get the ball away, get everything away, but he hesitated, Terry hesitated. And the one player who didn't was Helmez. Here we see it again. Terry's trying to shield the ball back to Carson. Little touch from Helmez through Carson's legs into the back of the net. Never scored an easier goal than that.
Lovely little nick from Helmez. Went round Terry, eyes on the ball all the way. And the rest was academic. And Scott Carson, a half-time substitute for David James, left with egg on his face. Worth mentioning perhaps that the other goalkeeper also on the bench tonight is Paul Robinson, another who's had his fair share of misfortunes. We won't mention Croatia away, but it is a problem, it would seem, that both of these nations have. As you said, Lou, having had so many fine goalkeepers down through the years.
Well, I think you can see there with Scott Carson why he's not putting David James under pressure for that spot. You mentioned Paul Robinson, Des. We've seen him time and time again dropping clangers, so that spot does look David James's for a number of years yet.
I should mention Terry as well. He must accept at least half of the blame there, because there was a point when he could have cleared the ball.
Well, he could have cleared it, and he stooped, I think, at one stage to try and head it back to the goalkeeper, but the ball didn't bounce up high enough. And between the two of them, Des, you're right, can't completely blame Scott Carson 100%, but I think the goalkeeper's got to take control there. He's coming out. John Terry's waiting for him to make a decision. That decision never came. The only man that made a decision was Helmez. Nice lovely score for Germany.
Good setup here as Carson puts it in, Westermann puts it out, Friedrich helps it on. Now Downing again outside of the left boot. Wonderful delivery, and Wiese flying through the air. Get a left fist on it. And Germany survived that particular moment. Humper, though, has given it away. Payoff from Downing. Let's tell you of a very busy Saturday ahead on Setanta Sports. We'll come back to that in a moment as Agbon Lahore is through. What a strike! Well, he wants a corner. He's not going to get one. He thinks it took a touch in its way, caught it brilliantly.
Well, he wants a corner there, and I think every England supporter in the stadium thought it was a goal. They saw the back of the net bulging, but wrong side of the back of the net. Decent shot from Agbon Lahore, sorry, it was a touch from the goalkeeper.
Definitely a touch from Wiese. He thought it was in. Well, almost a debut goal. Arne Friedrich. He's going off. He will be replaced by Serdar Taski, the Stuttgart defender. Normally a centre half, but can play right back as well. A quarter of the game remaining. Is there a winner in it? Terry forward, looking to make amends for his part in Germany's equalizer. Downing has delivered some tantalising dead balls so far tonight. Can he produce again? No, not this time.
Well, I do believe there's that Darren Bent opportunity gone in the back of the net, and we could have ended up with possibly another 5 here tonight, but as it is, he missed it. Germany have got back in the game, and anyone's game now.
Good win from Taski, who has gone straight in at centre half. Westermann, the play anywhere Schalke man, has gone to right back. Schweinsteiger. Mertesacker. Podolski. Well, he lost the ball and then went looking for a free kick that was never going to come. Fair challenge from Gareth Barry. Downing is off and running. And Mertesacker hacks clear. Kept in play by Marco Marin, who after showing a couple of glimpses in the early minutes of the second half after coming on at the interval, has seen precious little of the ball from Germany's point of view. Wright Phillips. Benton Agbonlahor in support, but not showing any interest for the moment. Wright Phillips went on and once handball against Comper.
This is all England have got to do for me, Des, for the next 20 minutes. Play the ball out to the right to Wright Phillips, or to the left to Downing. Allow them to go to both full-backs. We see Comper there on his backside, handling the ball.
Now some advice from the touchline for Stuart Downing here as to where this should go.
Back of the net's the best place, Des.
Five in the area. Downing's going for goal, and Visa down to his left to parry. Wright Phillips again, keeping up that work rate. Flag up on the far side.
It was a good strike from Downing over the wall. Visa gets down low. Good save from the keeper.
Slick surface now as well, with the rain starting to come down. Visa did what he had to. England asking the questions though, and no flag again, and Visa's come for this. He has clattered into Darren Bent. Well, he's not appealing, so obviously nothing in that. Bent's movement allied to Agbonlahor, causing some problems for that German defence. Downing comes off the right boot of Heiko Westermann. Downing neatly worked with Bridge. No pressure on the cross and a little flicked header. Good clear by Comper. Here's Helmez. Podolski looking to hold off Upson. And the referee will bring that one back.
Just talking to the referee, Des, I think he's done well tonight. Not kidded by that Darren Bent falling over in the box. Got that one right. Got most things right tonight.
And had Bent produced a heavier touch on that ball, might have avoided Visa's right foot, and then might have been looking at a penalty and a red card even. But it remains 1-1, 11 against 11, and here goes Trukowski. Like Marin on the other side, we haven't seen much of him second half. Now Westermann picks out a ball between Downing and Bridge, and Marin, and he fancied it. Blocked by Upson. Neither defence looking wholly convincing. Westermann puts it in. Little touch is a decent one. Trukowski was looking for Helmez. Now perhaps a chance with Trukowski out of position. Johnson to break. Schweinsteiger funneling across. Agbonlahor shepherding it back to Barry. Rolfs. Schweinsteiger, 2 sevens together. Break kindly here for Murray. 2 to the right, one of whom is Podolski. The second is Westermann. Has he the legs to get there? And he's managed to keep it in play. That's really all Heiko Westermann could do. Downing to take it away and clip one forward. Well read by Taski. Mertesacker to the feet of Trukowski. Westermann. Marin. Lovely little jink, and he's away from Carrick. That's where the move breaks down.
Sitting back a bit too much for my liking, England. Really should be out at the back instead of sitting in there. I know there's only 16 minutes to go, and probably they feel a decent results within sight, but still think if they get forward they could get all three, get a victory here.
Well, a draw wouldn't be a bad result away from home. But then again, Germany did look there for the taking tonight. Tchaikovsky, quick feet. Marin strikes it, and Carson down to save. The last couple of moments have seen Marin and Tchaikovsky on either flank come alive for Germany.
And they're just sitting in there, Des, on that 18-yard line. See all the red shirts.
Helmes in behind. And Podolski couldn't take advantage.
It's always a dangerous thing to do, sitting in that box. Balls are coming into you. One missed time challenge, you're in trouble.
Well, we're going to see Ashley Young for the final 15 minutes or so. Schweinsteiger. Needed support, found it in Mertesacker. Now Marin again, a buzz of anticipation around the Olympic Stadium. Looked to clip one through. John Terry stepped out, read it well. Germany have it back, Schweinsteiger again. Marin has runners. What has happened, England here? In a position where they looked comfortable. Helmes with that crazy equaliser just after the hour. And Germany up in the side pressing since. It's one Villeman for another. Agbonlahor's debut has lasted the best part of 77 minutes. Ashley Young comes on. Thoughts on Agbonlahor tonight, Luke?
I think he's done okay, Des, on the night. He'd probably like to have done a little bit better, as all players do when they get their opportunity, but I think he showed the manager enough to get another chance.
On the other side, there's going to be a debut for the Wolfsburg left full-back. Marcel Schaefer has replaced Marvin Komper. Like Agbonlahor is at an extended national debut. Though I dare suggest Agbonlahor's was the more eye-catching of the two. Well, he'll be happy to have got the equaliser, but we all know about the intensity of the press on the England manager. But Joachim Low, I'm sure, will be asked some questions in his post-match press conference as well.
No, I don't think he'll be kidded by the performance, Des. It's been a poor German performance. They've got back into the game courtesy of crazy England defending.
Rolfs turning it around the corner. Helmes a willing runner. John Terry not too happy with that one. Helmes, he believes, just left a foot in. And that would have had Phil Scolari sweating. We've already got Arsene Wenger, you'd imagine, in a huff, to say the least, back at the Emirates after Theo Walcott's injury last night. Wright Phillips standing off once more, and he's rattled the woodwork. Allowed time and space to measure it, and he almost measured it to perfection, Sean Wright Phillips.
German goalkeeper wasn't going to save this one had it been on target. Sean Wright Phillips, lovely right-footed shot, just bending away all the time from the goalkeeper. Unfortunately, just bends away and hits the post.
Did he get a fingertip on it, Visa? And over 10 minutes remaining. We could well have a winning goal, and it could well come at either end. Downing. And that's what his right foot. It was almost measured well for Ashley Young, but not quite.
See this attempt from Sean Wright Phillips again. That was heading for the back and then just bending all the time. And you're right, Desi. Keeper just may have got a slight touch to it.
That was a quick change. It's a chilly night. Belmez off and running, leaving Bridge behind him. Looking for support now. Trzaskowski on to Schaefer. First involvement for the substitute. Clearance by Terry. Committing too many forward for this free kick. Indeed, it's gone backwards to Taski. Now Rolfs. Little touch from Trzaskowski. Here's Schaefer. Taking on Glenn Johnson. He's done well, but it's attempted cross to the near post. Interception from Terry, who just has a word in the ear of Glenn Johnson there. Believes his fullback could have done more with that. Schaefer's throw in. Trzaskowski. Schweinsteiger. Left again. Schaefer's been full of attacking intent in his brief few moments on the pitch. Rolfs, Schweinsteiger. All this time Vesterman is loitering on the right touchline, but Schweinsteiger checks and goes left once more. Rolfs. Not the ball Trzaskowski was looking for. Back by Darren Bent, who will still be ruining that wonderful chance he had. Schaefer gets his cross in, an inviting ball as well. Claimed by Carson.
Well, these crosses shouldn't be coming in with ease the way that one did, Des. Glenn Johnson's job to block them. It's all about defending now for England. Last 8 minutes of this game.
Good win from Taski over Bent. And free kick won by Ashley Young. Ross proclaiming his innocence. What could I do? And the referee saw it as obstruction. And an opportunity again for Stuart Downing now. It's already tested Tim Visa from one free kick, albeit one that was a lot closer. Looking to turn provider this time, goes towards the back, and it's turned in by the captain, John Terry. England back in front, 6.5 minutes of the 90 remaining. And in the end, a goal simple in its inception, clinically finished by Terry.
Well, this goal's typical of John Terry, but as you're going to say, defending's awful from Germany. Look at John Terry here, he's at the back, leans over the top of the German defender, Vesterman. Great header, brave header, right in the top corner. Shocking defending from Germany. Westerman looking for a foul. Referee having none of it.
Well, Terry has redeemed himself, along with Carson at fault for Germany's equaliser. It's such a simple free kick. England isolating John Terry one-on-one at the back post, and in those situations he's as big a threat as anyone around.
A poor goal from a German point of view. I know John Terry's brave, but it's a job of Westerman and especially him and Mertesacker at the back. Two of them's both over 6 foot, Des, to get their head in there, head them away. And there's a relieved goalkeeper, Scott Carson.
Yes, indeed, England look like they've gotten out of jail. Well, you mentioned Mertesacker. That's a surprise to me that he wasn't the one detailed to mark John Terry there. Westerman, who's played a lot of his footballing life as a full-back, maybe wouldn't have the natural nous of a centre-half in defending those situations.
Well, he certainly didn't there, Des. I mean, it's your job there to jump up, head it away and not be beaten. It's so easily beaten at the back post.
It was a ball Heiko Westerman had a long time to see coming as well. Couldn't do anything about it, out-muscled by John Terry, who was determined to make it his. It looks like, after a 20-minute scare, it may well be England's night after all.
I think we've got to say they have been the better side. Apart from that blunder, they'd have been in front and coasting along to a victory. The hurler from John Terry and Scott Carson brought Germany back into the game, but I must say I think the two-line scoreline is just about the right result.
And as you've just seen, there is nothing England supporters like more than beating Germany.
Beating Scotland, Des?
Well, we may have to give you that one. Maybe a close tie.
I don't think it's close, Des.
Here's Wright Phillips. Certainly one of those to be asking a question of the England manager tonight. Very industrious display. Could have had a goal as well were it not for the fingertips of Visa. LIT's left-hand post. Matthew Upson was the man who got the goal scoring up and running after a dreadful mistake from the German goalkeeper René Adler midway through the first half. Poking home from close range. Offside flag here against Bent. And when they coughed up that crazy equaliser just past the hour and were then on the back foot, you were thinking England might have to settle for the draw. Then entered the captain. Helmes will be eager for just one more opportunity in front of goal. He won't get one, particularly with Schweinsteiger giving it away cheaply and Barry coming forward. Now 4 forward in this England attack. Here's Bridge, looking for a deep cross towards Bent, header away by Schaefer. Now Carrick sells the dummy to Rolfs, comes left to unmarked Wayne Bridge. England coming looking for the clinching third goal. Downing with the right foot, header away by Mertesacker. Ashley Young, two number 19s together. And final touch was off Marcel Schaefer. Final 90 seconds of the 90 minutes. All in all, Lou, what will be the, apart from the results obviously, always nice to beat Germany as we said, what will be the positives, the main positives that the England manager will take out of this?
Oh, I think on the night there's everything, compare England to Germany and you take positives from everywhere on the pitch. I think they've looked stronger than Germany. We've got a better idea in all departments of the field. Certainly been a lot hungrier than the home side. I think the England manager will be delighted with the 2-1 win.
Well, obviously, the one major minus was the goal and the way it was conceded.
Yeah, but that can happen at any level of football. I'm sure he'll remind John Terry and Scott Carson about it, and wouldn't expect to see it happen again, but it can happen at any level. And tonight, especially against a German team that weren't threatening, it was the only way they were going to get back into the game. I felt from a long time, long before half-time. Only a mistake from an England player. That mistake came, brought them back into the game, but I've got to say, I think Germany for me have been awful.
Well, at best they've been workmanlike, Germany, no real spark provided, but perhaps by Marin and Tchaikovsky at various intervals. They have been lacking that spark. Looked like they might be grinding out a draw with that most fortuitous of equalisers. But ultimately England have played the better football and have carried more of a threat.
You can tell how good Germany have been, Des, by the crowd reaction, and right throughout this game the home crowd have been on to the players, because over the years they've watched so many great players playing for Germany, and I must say I'm looking out there at that 11, and for me I don't really see one great player in the 11.
Here's Marin, who does look like he could have a good future ahead of him, still just 19. Now Vesterman. Well, he'll be thinking until the next time Germany play, I'm sure, about his role in Terry's goal. He'll face English opposition again next Thursday when Schalke hosts Manchester City. Teased in by Marin, solid header away. Bent with a little touch, and once again here goes the tireless Wright Phillips. Still energy left in those legs. Breaks kindly for Carrick. Picks out a nice ball for Downing, and look at the space ahead of him. Still Downing on the right foot, straight at Visa, who opted to fist it away. Now Ashley Young inside the area, and he's fouled Schaefer, has he? Yes.
Look dead on the feet now, Germany. England players just gliding past them. Stuart Downing comes inside. His left foot shot with his right foot.
And that was a late one. Glenn Johnson upended. Another decent showing from him at right back. And a reminder of some of the players to come back into this England side. Rio Ferdinand, Ashley Cole, Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard, Joe Cole, Wayne Rooney. Flipped into the corner, offside flag has gone. And for the final seconds, Peter Crouch will come on if he has time to come on. A bit of an unusual one, unless Sean Wright-Phillips has picked up a bit of an injury. And Peter Crouch on for his 30th cap.
I don't think it's an injury, Des. I think he's played his part. It's just to kill the last minute or so, make sure they win the game.
And he's got a touch, Crouch. It's going to run harmlessly out for an England throw-in. And with it comes the full-time whistle. It may not have been the 5-1 of Munich 7 years ago. What 2-1 will do, Fabio Capello just as fine. Matthew Upson setting them on their way. The midway point of the first half, a horrific equaliser conceded. A real mix-up between Terry and Scott Carson. But Terry redeemed himself with the winner 6 minutes from time. England have beaten Germany, and they will head home happy. Final score at the Olympic Stadium in Berlin: Germany 1, England 2.
Got to be a result to put a smile on anyone's face, surely. England have won 5 out of 5 this season, and they seem to be getting it right on the field and off. What a good night for England, then. You were delighted at half-time, Brian. Did England live up to your expectations? Apart from winning the game, were they as good second half?
Well, they had the 3 best chances in the second half in open play. They created 3 great chances, which the opposition keeper did well to save. So I think, yes, they've done well. I mean, there was just one disappointment in the night, and that was the goal they conceded. But overall, they were the better side. They were brighter, they were stronger, they were more athletic. As Lou said many times in commentary, they were quicker to the second ball. So you know, it's all in all been a good night's work, and there was just a 10-minute period where we thought, how can't they win this game?
Well, yeah, they got a good start, and it'll be disappointed, Capello, that they didn't build on it. They gave themselves a problem. Capello would love to have won the game 1-0.
There was a period,
he sat back in the second half. But I think you see the lack of pace that Terry has there, right? But that mistake is down to the goalkeeper. I don't think that Scott Carson, remember the big mistake he made against Croatia when he got an opportunity? I don't think you'll see that guy play for England again. He's not good enough. You see the reaction of Ray Clements on the bench, the goalkeeping coach. But again, when John Terry's playing for Chelsea, Czech knows about that lack of pace. He comes and gets everything. But, you know, there was just no authority from the keeper whatsoever.
John Terry's night, how would you sum it up overall?
Well, listen, look how he bullies Westerman here. I mean, that is vintage. That's what you want your leader to do. I mean, I thought all night that he turned up, he wanted England to win. When people say these games don't matter, he'll never forget the time he scored against Germany in Berlin. But look, when he gets isolated in these areas, he tends to dive in. He's always conscious of that lack of pace. And look at this. Look how conscious here. Look, he goes all the way. Look, he just worries. He knows that at this level, he's protected at Chelsea. That lack of pace can come back and be a problem for the team. It was there, but only because Carson wasn't aware of it.
Just on the goalkeeper for a second, Brian, how can you say that Carson would ever play international football again after his dreadful half tonight and that Croatia debacle?
I don't think you can say that 100%. I think it will be looked at very closely. And, you know, there's been a lot of people had a chance tonight to impress, but I think if there is someone who's let themselves down a little bit, it would be Carson, based on that lack of authority.
100% he won't play. I'll put Frank Carson in goal in front of him instead of him.
At the other end, who did seize the opportunity?
Well, listen, Bent's made a terrific little run there to stay on side, but hey, Capello wants him to put that in the back of the net. I thought, you know, Agbon Lahore did OK all night. Here's his chance. Boom. Goalkeeper gets a good touch. Doesn't score. Difficult angle for him. But, you know, Shaw Wright-Phillips, who, you know, I don't think he's going to be the right-sided option. I think Walcott is younger. He scored a hat-trick away in Croatia. But he had a good second half.
It's it's your show tonight for obvious reasons.
Well,
does it look like this is a team now with with a club mentality and a togetherness, and B, a party that knows exactly where everybody's supposed to be going?
They have a leader, and I think it's wanted that for a little while. They've got somebody who isn't frightened to say, this is what we're doing, and this is the way I want to do, and you've got to do it this way, otherwise you're not going to have any part of it. And I think even at the level we're talking at, you know, supposedly great players or the best players in England have got to have someone prepared to make decisions and be strong. And they've got the man to do that. Now, that could give them the chance to be successful at last again.
It's nice to win, and it'll make England feel good because it's Germany. But the two main challenges for Capello still exist. Just like the All Blacks in rugby, the way that they can do it leading up to the big tournament, he's got to build a tournament team. And also tonight creates that problem that England managers sometimes don't deal with very well, and that's expectation.
Well, again, it's picking a balanced side, and he seems to be able to do that. You know, the trick is when all the players are fit and well, do we see all the better players being picked and played out of position? Or do we see a team that's selected with a purpose and a system and a pattern of play that can win games?
Signs are right now he's a manager who's not afraid to make a decision. Brian and Pat, thank you both very much indeed for being with us tonight. Please join us at the weekend. The lineup of live football looks like this. We start in the SPL in Scotland with St Mirren against Celtic, Saturday lunchtime, 11:30 we start, Setanta, Ireland. And 2 live games back-to-back from the Premier League in England. Pat and myself for Liverpool against Fulham from Anfield. That's live on Saturday afternoon. 2:30 we start on Setanta Sports 1, and we follow immediately with the game of the weekend, Aston Villa against Manchester United. Thank you very much for being with us tonight. We hope very much you've enjoyed it. Germany didn't enjoy it very much though, did they? From us all, bye for now.